Bust it.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform on Repa FM. We're also on Ait Abuja and Ait International, 6 p.m. Where if you're in Abuja, you can tune in to us. You can also access our YouTube channel for daily programs that we share with you. My name is Amechi Anapwe. Is it a beautiful or a dramatic or a very sad note? Put all of them together. You get a summary of what happened on Tuesday across the length and breadth of the country. The killings have continued. It was a communal violence in Nasarawa State, 20 dead. But the attention has been in Benue State, where 19 lost their lives in one local government area, including 2 Catholic priests. They were about to conduct a burial service for some dead persons. We were told that the thieves have the culture of burying their people early in the morning. So as early as 5 a.m., the priests and other church members were getting ready for the burial mass when a suspected herdsman swooped on them. They were lurking and hiding away in the bushes close to the area and just took advantage of the early morning mass to swoop on the people. At the end of the day, 19 lay dead. We had some others are critically injured and may also indeed pass on if the urgent medical attention is not done to really sustain their life. Very sad development there. We should be joining via telephone the state chairman of Christian Association of Nigeria and Benue State, Reverend Ben Leva, for update on situation there. But in Abuja, it was also drama. We told you early yesterday that Dino Melaya is with the police SARS office in Abuja. We were able to establish later that he submitted himself to the police early hours of yesterday. Then the police made attempts to drive him to Lokoja, where the police declared him wanted. But when he got to Area 1, around about in the Gariki district of Abuja, upon discovering that it was Lokoja that was their destination and not the court, as he was made to believe, Dino Melaya resisted that travel to Lokoja, prompting some events to happen. Different newspapers have described what happened. Many of them reached the conclusion that Dino Melaya jumped out of a moving vehicle and escaped from justice. But one newspaper, Blueprint, had a different account that when he tried to resist the movement to Kogi State, that passers-by were attracted to the scene, and when they saw that it was Dino Melaya, they identified him as the senator that was always speaking for the masses, and the huge crowd prevented the police from further taking any action, forcing the police to retreat, and Dino Melaya gaining his freedom. He later took himself to a private hospital in Abuja, where the police have also converged there and are laying siege to that place. These are some of the dramatic things that happened yesterday. On a more serious note, the president met with APC governors at the State House Abuja, and Phil has said the president pleaded with them to support former Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole as the party's candidate or chairman when elections come during the May scheduled date, May 19, I guess, a date for the National Convention of the party. Uju Ejeye is with me in the studio.
Amechi, it's really sad what is happening in Benue State, particularly in Gwa West. It baffles me that such things are still happening in that area, because I remember 8 years ago when we went, I went with the House of Representatives Committee on Special Duties on a fact-finding mission. There was still, because of this herders, farmers clashes there. And the same scenario presented itself. I recall also that a Catholic church, as they just closed from service and they were coming out, over 20 people were murdered there. In fact, we met the bloody things, a whole lot of things. It was terrible. And in one other village, they sacked a whole village. Only 2 persons were spared. And it's sad to think that several years after, in the same West, in the same Catholic Church, this kind of thing is happening. It's painful. Like I said a few days ago, we've reduced Nigerians, fathers, mothers, heads of families to numbers: 17 dead, 19 dead, 23 dead.
And
it's
they keep
a shame of a nation.
Basis.
Yes,
it keeps happening on daily basis. And you may ask, where are the security agencies? The Operation Cat Race, is this still on Ait Batuma? If it's still on, what is the extent of that operation, or is it a training exercise? The other day, the Benue State government was asking for a full-scale military operation and not just an exercise to curtail the incessant killings going on the water of the place. Despite the deployment of special mobile units to these places, it has simply continued. But we told you yesterday, a sub-regional effort towards arresting the tide of killings and clashes between herdsmen and farmers continuing today in Abuja. But should we not do charity at home and look inwards on how to resolve these killings while we are making efforts to get the support of other neighboring countries in West Africa? These are some of these questions. Let's get your input into this program. Let's fill your pearls as we share some of the mails you sent to our email platform.
Thank you, Amaechi. Welcome to the mail segment. I am Ife Nwanwobi.
I am Etenikan Akepo. You're welcome.
We'll start with this mail coming from Comrade Monday Ame in Abuja, and is reacting to recent killings in Benue State. He says, I wish to use this medium to condemn very unequivocally the gruesome killing of Reverend Father Joseph Gore, Reverend Father Felix Toyolaha, the catechist and other parishioners of St. Ignatius Catholic Church at Okwombalom, Benue State, during morning mass yesterday. This gruesome murder of innocent priests and worshippers is, to say the least, barbaric and sacrilegious, inhuman, insensitive, reprehensible, callous, and very lugubrious. I call on our security agencies to swing into action swiftly by arresting those murderers, and they should be summarily tried and executed accordingly to serve as deterrent to others. Furthermore, as a concerned Nigerian and a staunch supporter of President Muhammad Buhari, I call on him to take a patriotic look at his security chiefs by rejigging it so that he can bring on board people with fresh ideas on how to immediately bring to an end this orgy of killings in our country.
And now to the incident involving Senator Dino Melaye yesterday. Sadiq, decent in Okene, Kogi State, says Senator Dino claimed to be smart and innocent when he gave the Inspector General of Police 24 hours to produce the runaway thugs that indicted him after their sudden escape from police custody in Lokoja. He told the world he was ready to face the law, but those thugs must be presented. The same Dino is now looking for escape routes since the rearrest of those thugs. Is Dino really the chief of these thugs? Why is Dino trying to escape by all means? What were his calculations when he gave the IG 24 hours to produce the thugs? Who arranged the thugs that rescued him at Area 1 roundabout? May God help Nigeria. That's the much you can take on the mail segment. Keep your mails coming. Political Platform at yahoo.com is still the route.
Thank you so much for remaining with us. We are still making efforts to get Reverend Ben Lever, the state chairman of Christian Association of Nigeria, in Benue State for on the spot assessment of the situation there. But before then, let's start with the APC scheduled convention in Abuja. The meeting in the State House yesterday was one that appeared to have thrown up the chances of Adams Oshiomhole as the next likely chairman of the party. Before then, the incumbent chairman, Odigi Oyegu, likely going to recontest, is also making efforts. We told you how the South-South caucus of the party was divided over the two at a meeting some 2 days ago. But it appears the president, who, when Oshiomhole was governor, visited Edo State and promised that once he's done with governance in Edo State, there will be some bigger federal assignments waiting for him in Abuja. It appears the president is about to ensure fusion of that, his prediction, with his support for Adams Oshiomhole as the next APC chairman.
Oh, well, if you look at it, the way it's going, you will know that he intends to keep his word. I just say that the tide against Oyegu had been on for a while. If you recall, the leader of the APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who also nominated him for that position in the first instance, was the first to pass
against Tommy Kimmy.
Against Tommy Kimmy, was the first to pass what you could call a vote of no confidence on him. And when it appeared that he had got his way with some governors backing him, 10-year elongation and all, only for it to bounce back, and then with the president now saying, look, no, this is not right. But of course, in accordance with the law, because they foresaw a situation where in future it might create problems for the party even during the elections, and they had to quickly deal with that. From that moment, I would have thought that he would have read the handwriting. But maybe they still need to spell out some more things for him. And
where does that leave Oyegu now? Once the president has taken a position, it will be like swimming against the tide, swimming across the Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly.
Well, the president may be playing to the dictates of Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who, like Uju told you, was one of the first to withdraw support for Oyegu. He had always said, this man is not the right man after I had helped him to come into that office in the first place. There were so much analysis as to who the president will be backing, Oyegu or Shemole. If he backs Oyegu, that means he will incur the wrath of Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, and his support for him come 2019 may not be assured. But by going on the same lane with Asiwaju, I think the president is further cementing his political relationship with Asiwaju.
In economics, we had what you call the scale of preference. I think that's what is playing out here. Do you want the votes of the Southwest? Do you want the allegiance of the Southwest? Do you want to trade this? Do you want to trade that? Which is the topmost on the priority list? I think that's what the president is doing right now.
Well, I wonder what will happen to some governors who have been providing support for Oyegu. As soon as the president said otherwise, starting with his advice that the earlier extension of the tenure of Oyegu and other members of the National Working Committee be stopped to pave way for a convention. There were some opposition, mostly from governors, but it appears, like I said some time ago on this program, the president is beginning to do what he should have done initially within his party by putting his feet down, providing leadership, taking charge. There's no way you can say, oh, I'm not a real typical party man. Let things happen as naturally as they should. Like what happened in the National Assembly, where the president said he's ready to work with anybody. And at the end of the day, he must have regretted that decision, where the National Assembly is in continuous conflict with the president. Now, the president is beginning to have a firmer control of this party.
Amechi, you cannot be in politics and not learn to play politics. I think that was where the president missed it initially, but now he's learning to play politics. If you recall the time of
with an election imminent.
Exactly, an election that he is interested in recontesting. So it's either he paved the way for him to have a good showing in that election, or allow things to just go anyhow. More so that there are also people eminently qualified who are also desiring the same position. You would also recall that in the time of our former president Olusegun Obasanjo, he also came in a novice in politics, particularly the Nigerian side. But by the time he faced 2-3 things, he learned to play politics.
The hard way,
he
the only
became
way.
a politician. The late Awoni Yanko taught him some lessons in politics, and today you can see he's playing it so well.
Well, who is now the leader of the party? Is it the president, or is it still Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu? But events will continue to unfold, and we surely will give you the reports and the analysis.
Don't pitch them against each other.
Both leaders? Can you have two captains in a ship?
No. I mean, the president, no doubt, by virtue of his position, is in control. You can't take that away from him. And
Asiwaju is his political ally.
Exactly. More so that party supremacy has been so watered down over the last since 1999 to date. Until and when you institute party supremacy, I think the president is in charge. Nobody would want to.
Oyegu was built to announce openly his intention to seek a fresh term in office. But with the move from the president, can he afford to do it now? Let's wait and see. Let's go to Benue State. The Christian Association of Nigeria chairman in Benue State, Reverend Aben Leva, is joining us now via telephone. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Very sad news coming from your state yesterday. 19 killed, including 2 Catholic priests. How did you receive that sad news?
Yesterday was a bloody day in Benue State. We received the news with shock because they were there, the early morning mass was going on, and the header just came and killed 2 priests and 19 others. Our others were able to manage and go free with their lives. It was a bloody day. Everybody was shocked. Everybody was sorrowful. All of us were crying in Benue State because of the new dimension that the crisis has taken.
But this is not strange. I recall some years back when we visited Benue State for the same killings in a Catholic church, where people were just coming out at the end of a service. One would have thought that churches in that area would have at least taken some precautionary measure.
Yes, actually, we have told our churches to take precautionary measures, but this one was in the village, the hinterland in the local government. And it is not easy for them to be up to date with state in terms of security. And actually, they did not expect that such a thing will happen to them in that village. And then they were taken by surprise.
Now, what does this mean to the Christian Association of Nigeria? Some say it's a direct attack on the church, desecration of the altar of God. Some gunmen moving in to spill blood right there at the altar.
Yeah, I can say, as far as we are concerned, we can say it is a declaration of war on the church because they have taken a new dimension. Our poor farmers are being killed while they go to farm, but here people are going observing their mass in the church, and you come and kill them. Then this means a declaration of war on the church in Benue State.
Or even the churches in these areas not apply to the authorities to provide security like we have in some churches in Abuja and some other places once it's time for service?
As far as I'm concerned, there's no security in Nigeria now. We have been crying. We have been calling for security. In our churches, we have contacted our members. We have written to the federal government, to the IG, to all these federal security apparatus. Yet, nothing is happening.
You wrote as Christian Association of Nigeria Benue State Chapter, what?
Yes, we wrote as CAN Benue Chapter to the presidency, to the IG, to National Assembly, to National Human Rights Commission. We have written to everybody, telling them that there's going to be an attack on the church in Benue. It is not new to them. They have known it.
When were these letters written?
Pardon?
When were these letters? What date did you write these letters?
We wrote these letters since last year. Since last year, when the anti-open grazing law was signed by the governor, the Mietiala came out with a threat that they are going to mobilize the whole Fulani in West Africa to come and attack Benue State. We wrote, we explained, they are on papers. We quoted the papers and we wrote to them as soon as this happened around June last year. We wrote these letters.
No, what the Mietiala said was that they were going to resist the law and not to attack people. I didn't read anywhere they said they were going to attack anybody.
They said they will mobilize all headsmen, to come and occupy. And they also said that they lived in Benue Valley before. So they are coming to occupy Benue Valley. It belongs to them. That's what it is on paper. It is not synonym to attack. If somebody is coming to push you away and occupy, then he's ready to come and attack you, then he will occupy your land. They said it is on paper.
All right. In the light of what is happening, are you really that helpless? Is there nothing you can do for yourselves within the ambit of the law?
Well, we can say we are helpless because if you look at the magnitude of the missiles of the guns these people bring, how can the poor farmers afford all these sophisticated weapons? So we are helpless. And that's why we cried to the federal government.
Now, I believe CAN would have been meeting since that incident yesterday, and more meetings maybe would have been scheduled.
Yes, even yesterday we met.
So what was the outcome of the meeting?
We met, we said, one, as CAN, we believe in prayers. We'll continue praying to God to solve this situation. And then we went on again to mobilize our people to be prayerful and to be watchful, so that whenever an incident comes, we'll be able to resist.
Now, let's give you an opportunity again to appeal to the federal government. What do you want the federal government and the security agencies to do for you? They are listening as we speak. What form of help, what form of intervention do you expect from them?
One, we expect them that if they could act swiftly to operate to the Biafra uprising and the Niger Delta Avengers. Why can't they send away these bandits in Benue State? They have the capacity. We have reported to them, but they have the capacity. We are calling them to send security personnel to come to chase these people out of this bushes that are killing our people in Benue State. It is on a daily basis they kill them. We need to review material. There are over 170,000 refugees in different camps. We need their intervention, because even though what they have done is not enough, we need more so that there will be peace in Benue. And if this is not controlled, it means there will no food in the country, because Benue is the food basket of the nation. And if they say no farmers should go to farm again, where will we get that food? That means there will be hunger in Benue, there will be hunger in Nigeria. That will be the outcome.
We have to thank you so much, Reverend Abban Lever, State Chairman Khan in Benue State, for your intervention.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Amechi, you need to go to Gwa West and Gwa East to understand what this man
I
is
think this
trying
was in
to
Gwa East.
Yeah, you need to go to that site to understand what he's saying. These places that we're talking about are about 3, 4, 5 hours inside the
From
bush. From Makurdi, inside the bush. You hit the bush, you travel as long as 3, 4, 5 hours inside the bush. No electricity. You cannot make calls. You cannot do anything. Vehicles cannot even get to someplace. And of course, most of the people at that point, if you had a motorcycle in these areas, I mean, you are like the king. So it really looks terrible and almost helpless. But I know that the authorities have a duty. They have a responsibility to the citizens, because these people are also part of this country, and they swore to an oath before assuming office to protect the lives and property of Nigerians, and they must carry out that function. That these people are in such remote, somewhat recluse places does not mean they have to be left at the mercy of killers who can just come in and mow down a whole village, leaving 2 people at times, 3 people only.
There was an interview I just conducted with Bishop Oyele, the Anglican Bishop of Calaban, on AIT's Kakaki, and he told me plainly that he believes the federal government is aware of what is happening, and he accused the president of deliberately not taking action. His conclusion is not far from the conclusion of so many who have analyzed the situation, even when the president came out very swiftly yesterday to describe what happened as evil and satanic, and that the perpetrators must be brought to book. But some of his critics says he needs to do more. The National Assembly the other day describing the service chiefs as having overstayed their welcome and needs to be sacked. Some of our listeners continuously begging the president to replace the service chiefs, do something different, because as we speak, killings continue on, not just in Benue yesterday. There was some other communal clash in Nasarawa State where 20 lost their lives. If you wake up tomorrow and pick up the newspapers, you also see gory news and details of deaths that we believe are avoidable.
In fact, the Nigerian landscape has been turned into something else. Every day you open newspapers, you look at social media, reports of killings. You know, even in Abia State, there are communal clashes in Abia State as we speak. The senatorial district of Mao Ohuabonwa. It's everywhere. It's almost becoming scary that you wake up, you don't know what is going to happen next. And I think that the main criticism, I thank God that the president has come out to condemn what happened. But people expected him to have done that earlier, at that very early stage, you know, because of what you call body language. But thank God he's doing it now. But they also expect him to go a step further in calling a spade, in condemning and relegating to whatever at least you could to describe the killer herdsmen. If you called IPOB a terrorist group, they want him to declare the Fulani killer herdsmen as terrorists. And I think that's where a lot of Nigerians are not happy with him. Because if they have been doing the people who have killed thousands, how do you describe them?
Well, the president said that terrorists trained in Libya, and upon the death of late Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi, they streamed to other countries, including Nigeria, and they are causing mayhem. But the question is, what is the security agencies doing to counter, arrest, and prosecute these killers?
Amici, the authorities have taken some steps that some people have described as faulty. They are terrorists. Have they been given terrorist treatment? You know what I mean? If you declare that these people are terrorists, why not follow up accordingly? And then you recall what happened in Southern Kaduna, where even the government was said to have negotiated with the killer herdsmen
and paid some money,
compensation. I mean, how do you
how do you
marry all
killers.
of this?
Well, these are questions that we'll continue to put to our leaders. We support and encourage them. It's not that Nigeria is the only place where killings take place, but the pattern and the continued nature is one that will force everybody to be very cautious and always want to sit up and not sitting down. It has gone beyond the ordinary, and we continue to appeal to the president and pray that God gives him the wisdom to do the extraordinary. Take a look at the security architecture, take a look at our security challenges, and prefer new ways of addressing it. Maybe the ECO has a conference on herdsmen farmers clashes currently ongoing in Abuja may come up with further recommendations. But we continue to hope and pray that Nigeria will remain one united, prosperous, and developed nation.
Amen.
And we can say amen to that. That's the much we can say and take on today's edition. We come back on Thursday with another edition. Thank you so much for being part of today's edition. Please do send in your mail. Let's welcome your comment, your opinion. Don't just be a passive listener. Participate in the process of building a new and better Nigeria. On behalf of Uju Ejaya and my colleagues, my name is Amici, and we have a nice day.